Erica and Sharon are sisters who began their grief journey in 2006 when Erica's 10-year-old son Austin drowned. Together, they participated in a grief education program, were so moved by this experience, they studied and became specialists so they could help the brokenhearted find recovery. In 2015, tragedy struck their family once again when Erica's oldest son Donovan was killed in a motorcycle accident. Erica and Sharon are committed to sharing their experiences of love, loss, and healing through this podcast. Now your grief specialists, Sharon and Erica.
You're listening to Healing Starts with the Heart with Sharon and Erica.
I'm Sharon Brubaker.
And I'm Erica Honore.
Welcome, friends. This is a show for and about grievers. Grievers, anyone that has a broken heart, that has experienced a loss of any kind. That's what this show is about. Hopefully to give you some words of wisdom and help you through today.
And not to tell you about how you feel or how you should feel or what, we don't know how you feel. We just know how we felt.
Yeah.
And the things that helped us. So if we can help you in any way, that's our goal right there.
Absolutely. That's what we set out to do. You may pick up on something that's helpful to you, and it may not be helpful to you, but you can pass this on.
Right.
We also talk a lot about how you can be support for other people.
What do you call them? Support
staff.
Yeah, support staff.
Everybody needs some support staff.
That's true. Everyone does.
Yes. So today we have a great show.
Yeah. Which is, I'm excited about it because it's not something that I really, I've experienced it, but it's big because there's such a huge industry out there that caters to people with pets.
Yes. This is about pet loss. Today our show is about pet loss.
And it's often hugely discounted.
100%.
You're it's a dog.
Yeah.
Why are you crying over your dog?
Get over it.
Yeah. Get another dog.
Get another dog. It's just your bird.
Yeah.
Even that.
Yeah.
Even that. I think that it gets discounted because people don't realize how much a pet feels in for another person.
Yeah.
Or because they don't feel that way for themselves, right? They don't feel that way about their own pet. They feel it's just a dog.
Right.
And so they don't get. My point is this, is that it's sheer love.
It is. It is pets love without judgment, without unconditionally. Like every time, let's say you have a little puppy, right? And you got to reprimand him because he pottied on the floor. 5 minutes later, he's not going to hold it against you. He's just going to want to lick your face and sit in your lap, or your cat, that pooped in your shoe. In 5 minutes, he's all over that.
Yeah.
You
need to be over it too.
It's a new experience for him when he walks in the room again. Like, oh, okay, let's be friends.
But I also feel like when you come home from work,
oh yeah,
that Barron is the first one to greet me.
Right.
Tony said Tony will come home. Tony's my husband. He'll come home, and Barron will be whining until I walk in the door. And I didn't think we were that close, but apparently we are very close. And he needs me for some reason. But he just looks at me with sheer love, and it's always like, "Mom, you're home."
I just read this meme the other day, which is hilarious. I have 4 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, a Baron's sister, whose name is Sister, and we don't know what Sam is. He's a mutt, but Sam is actually part human. But it was this meme of like, when they're sitting on the floor, and this happens to me every single day, and I get up to go to the kitchen. Where are you going? Can I come? I'm just going to the kitchen. Can I come? Okay, yeah, come on. And then we all got a journey into the kitchen. Where are you going now? I'm going back to where I was before I walked to the kitchen. I mean, that is my life when they're in the house.
Try getting in my house without greeting Barron and telling him that you see him, you notice him, anything about that.
And he did to me last night what Sister does. Yeah. I'm just going to put my face right here until you acknowledge me. Right here on your leg.
And once you acknowledge me, I'll be gone. So it's so stinking cute because I get up at 3:30 every morning to make Tony's lunch. And so when I'm making his lunch, it might be meat, it's always some sort of meat, but I'm making a sandwich or whatever. And so as soon as he hears the wrappers go, he's like, okay, got to go in and get my piece. But now if I go in the kitchen, I'm like, dude, it's not 3:30. You need to get out of here.
They must have that in common because Sister, as soon as that refrigerator door opens, I close it and she's standing right there. I'm like, I thought you were hard of hearing. Oh, you heard that? Oh, okay.
So think about that.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
It completely.
It's a relationship. Yes, they didn't write you a love letter. They don't pay the bills.
No.
They don't pay for their dog food. They don't even understand you have to go out and pay for that dog food. But the day you walk in and they're no longer there, it's as if a knife has been stabbed clear through your heart.
Your heart is broken.
Yes. Yes. So recently I had someone send me a question and they asked me, am I crazy for still grieving my cat? It was
Right.
actually a guy. He was so heartbroken and he was like, am I crazy? I'm still grieving this cat. And he's like, he's embarrassed to share it.
Yeah.
He feels he's going to be judged.
It's not received well
Right.
with other people. First of all, any grieving experience is not received well.
No.
Because as a society, we're not trained to talk about grief.
We're ill prepared.
Yeah. So if you lost, a person, that you're already getting misinformation, let alone losing a pet.
Yeah.
People can't connect with that. A lot of people can't connect.
Yeah.
Unless you are, you have a fur baby, it's hard for you to connect.
I think what happens a lot of times, Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that when we do start to grieve for the loss of our pet, it sometimes can throw us for a loop. We weren't
Yeah.
expecting it. We thought, okay, I'm going to cry for 2 or 3 days, but we weren't expecting it sometimes to be as deep and as heavy as it was, and that's what throws us for the loop.
Right. And a lot of times, as you and I know, because grief is cumulative,
Yeah.
when you lose a pet, it'll attach to another loss.
Yeah.
So the grief and the crying, when we had to put our first family dog, Shasta, to sleep in 1997, so the year after, no, we got her in 1997. In 2007, the year after Austin died, we bought her for Donovan, so it was our first family pet. And she had got a tumor that was behind her eye, and we couldn't do anything about it, poor thing. She was 12 years old. We had to put her to sleep. When I tell you, I left the vet's office, snot, ugly cry, red face, and I went home, and even Lewis, it went to the room. We just, separated and we grieved.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Yeah. 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 It absolutely is sad. That was close to Austin's death.
Yeah.
So you could pinpoint and say this is also about Austin. A lot of times what happens is that they are our grieving friends. They can't realize that I'm
Right.
still grieving from the loss of my mother from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now this pet loss has attached to it is what
Right.
we're trying to share.
Right, because when you've had that other loss and you came there and your fur baby was there comforting you.
Yeah.
So now you don't have your mom, and now you don't have your fur baby.
One of the things we know that a lot of our friends will do is that they'll run out and buy another pet right
Replace
away.
the loss.
They replace the loss. Do you think that's great advice?
No, because so we didn't replace the loss. We actually didn't get a dog, I think, for 2 years after we put Shasta to sleep, and Sister was our first dog. It doesn't work because you're expecting to feel that affection and have the experience. Shasta was a German Shepherd, very, very smart. She could open the door and let herself out to go to the bathroom. I mean, she was so funny. Even because we had a sliding door she'd open, and we had those swivel handles. She could put her face on it, pull the door open, and let herself out. I mean, it was amazing.
Oh, wow.
We have 2 other German Shepherds. They don't do that. At all. They don't even think about it. Actually, Harley will trample you to get out the door. So when you try to do that and you think you're going to replace the loss, you're not going to get that same experience.
Yeah.
It's not the same dog.
Yeah. And sometimes what happens is that you don't even get into the second pet because you're still missing the other pet. I made a mistake years ago when Brittany was 10 years old and she lost her Chihuahua, Louise.
Yeah.
I went out immediately and bought a new dog because she was 10 years old. Friends, to tell you the truth, I didn't realize it was a grieving experience.
Right.
I didn't give her the space she needed to complete her relationship with Louise. And so when she started waking up at the middle of the night, I looked at my husband and I was like, hey, this is her grieving over the dog. We got to get her a new dog. And I immediately went out and bought her a new dog.
Yeah.
But guess what happened with the new dog? She loved it for a little while and she took care of it for a little while, but eventually Brittany was like, I'm not giving my heart over to that dog. She just refused to do it. And so you could just see the distance as Brittany was getting older, her going between Jackie and her. And Brittany went off to college and she never looked back. And now I'm the owner of Jackie. You know, that's exactly what happened. So yes, I made a mistake. And we often make that mistake because I thought this was going to fix it because no one had ever said anything to me. I really didn't know.
And it's so common. That's very common, I think, for parents because they don't want to see their babies hurting.
Yeah.
No one wants to see your kid hurting. So it's like, here, take this new puppy.
Yeah.
Be happy. I love you. You know, don't feel sad.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to feel it.
Yes, you have to
how
feel
are
it.
you going to learn how to grieve properly, how to properly communicate your feelings
Yes.
if you're constantly given something to replace so you don't
Yes.
feel bad?
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, there are other types of replacing, Erica, not just going out and buying a new pet.
For sure.
We can feel that with staying late at work.
Yeah.
We can feel that with sleeping long hours. We can feel it with isolating. We can feel it
With a bottle of wine.
with a bottle of wine, buying a different type of pet, right? Or picking up a new habit, or just going to the gym extra long. There's so many other things that we can
Right.
replace that with. We don't necessarily have to go out and buy the pet.
No.
So we need to be aware of that as
For
well.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can it's so easy to get into some unhealthy habits
Yeah.
when you're feeling bad.
Yeah,
Because you just don't want to feel bad.
right. Exactly.
So,
And like my friend that called about the cat and that he was embarrassed to tell people, you don't owe anyone anything. Your feelings are your feelings, and they're absolutely okay to have them and to express them,
right.
right?
Well, and you want to find that safe space. We as professionals provide a safe space for grievers, but sometimes they're supporting staff. We call them supporting
Yeah.
staff. They don't always create a safe space, especially if they don't understand the loss, the pet
Yes.
loss. And if they're telling you, get a new puppy. Oh, why are you crying about that cat? Get over it. It was a cat.
Right.
You know, I'm a dog person. You know, people say insensitive things.
Yeah.
You want to find the people who are going to just listen to you, let you say what you need to say, let you feel how you need to feel, and don't make you feel crazy.
100%. 100%. We know for a fact that we need to talk as grievers and we need to be heard and listened to with respect. But what happens is a lot of times, especially when it's a pet, we're not given that safe space to talk.
No.
And so if you can't find somebody who will listen to you and hear what you have to say, then journal about it.
Right.
Absolutely journal about it. Journal about your feelings. Absolutely write down your thoughts. I had a client that came in last week and she's like, I've just been writing down my thoughts. I thought it was so cool because as she was writing down thoughts that she was having, we were able to go through each and every one of them
Yeah.
and break them down. Write down your thoughts. Try to feel your feelings. Try to know what
Right.
you're feeling. Try to go in your heart and attach a feeling word. Sad, mad, glad, afraid,
Yeah.
embarrassed,
Confused.
broken.
Yeah.
Put the feeling word in there, attach it to that so that you absolutely know. That's the first step, I think, with processing it, is to really get out there. And don't let anyone make you feel, no one can make you feel, don't let anyone put any pressure on you or you accept a negative comment that they say about your pet.
Right. Right. Because they don't understand.
No.
And it's sometimes it feels like the responsibility is on the griever to help people to understand how you're feeling.
Yeah.
That's not your job.
No.
That's not your job. If that person doesn't get it, find someone else.
One other thing I do want to also caution of is using the comparisons. I hear people tell me all the time, they come in, their child has just died, and like, I know exactly how you feel. My cat just died.
Right.
That's so, to tell another griever that you know exactly how they feel is, number one, the most disrespectful thing that you can say to another griever, because the truth is you don't know how they feel. I absolutely don't know how you feel as a mother who lost Austin. You don't know how I felt as an aunt that lost Austin.
Right.
Right? And so we had to give each other that space. But when you compare the loss of a child to a pet in the griever's heart,
They get
this is what I'm saying,
offended.
they get really offended. So do say, I can't imagine what this is like for you.
Right.
I can't imagine what your heart must be feeling like right now. I remember when my cat died, how my heart felt so sad. That's the
Right.
way you approach the conversation.
Yes.
That's the way you go into it.
And you're making a connection.
And you're making a connection. Then they know you know grief, they know you know loss, and they'll be more willing to listen to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, friends, for joining us. Let's share our grief together.
You can find us at healingstartswiththeheart.com.
And we would love to be your grieving friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much.